Murder Drones is officially over, which is sad, but I'm more confused than anything. All I want to know is Uzi the Absolute Solver now? Does she have it within her, or is that Sin? Is Sin a real character? Is the Absolute Solver separate from Sin? Did the Absolute Solver take over Sin? So is Jay still alive? She did mention that all the notable drones get cloned, so are there other Jays just flying around destroying everything? Did the Earth actually get destroyed, or was Sin lying about that too? Can we believe anything that Sin actually said? Why, if the Earth is at a technological state where they have worker drones flying around and working in factories and whatnot, why is there a haunted mansion? Feels like the time periods don't really add up. Also, what's with all the religious symbolism too? Why did they perform the experiments they did in a church and make the flash drive a crucifix? Also, is all of humanity dead, or are there pockets in other planets just scattered throughout the galaxy? How far does humanity's reach go? Can all the regular drones have the capacity to become murder drones like Uzi does, or is she like a select case? Because it feels like all of them have the potential to do that. At least that's the idea I got by the end of the show. If there's such a thing as robot velociraptors, does that mean somewhere there's a robot T-Rex? Because I feel like we deserve to see that. Who actually thought it was a good idea to make the security system dinosaur themed? Because I want to shake their hand. Also, do they have like infinite storage in their mouths and necks and stomachs, or is it just like a cartoon thing? Do any of these questions affect how I feel about the show overall? Absolutely not. The real question I'm asking here is, what is it about stuff like this that draws millions upon millions of people into it? What is it about being creeped out or scared from internet content specifically that just draws so many people in? Of course, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that the internet allows animators, artists, writers, and all sorts of people to come in and show their creativity off in a way that otherwise would be kind of difficult. That begs the question, if the majority of people on the internet, at least the ones that I interact with, are so interested in creepy stuff all year round, is there any way that someone like me, who's definitely not an animator, kind of an artist, but more so a writer than anything else, create something that would even make a splash? Can someone like me make something kind of like Murder Drones? Can I make something that spooks you and entertains you? I've got a whiteboard. Let's find out. First things first, I need to figure out what it takes to make something that's scary and memorable, according to the internet. I think the first one's obvious. You gotta have dead kids. Most analog horror series involve some form of children paying the ultimate price. Maybe the reason people like this, I don't know if like's the right word, but maybe the reason people enjoy this particular detail about horror stuff is because, well, a lot of like mainstream horror related content usually doesn't touch this. But overall, the internet loves it. So for that reason, I'm gonna have to incorporate this into my story, or at least the threat of this happening to some degree. The next thing we're gonna need are characters that look like they were pulled straight off of the main page of DeviantArt. What I mean by that is we need characters with designs that can be easily recreated by pretty much anybody, regardless of their artistic talent. But any good writer will tell you that your setting has to complement your characters. And nostalgia, whoa, you can't have a spooky series without it. I'm talking schools, you need some kind of like doctor's office, places that most people that grew up in a suburb or an apartment are familiar with. It has to be familiar enough that most people will recognize where the story is happening without being so general that people will look at it and think, oh yeah, of course that's where they went. And lastly, if we want to stand out with my original project, it has to ask some kind of existential question. What is the purpose of life? Are you alive right now? Are there other versions of you that made horrible decisions and that somehow still affects you? These are the things that you shouldn't wonder about, but are definitely going to be brought up in this kind of story. But with that, I think we've got a winning formula. Now we just have to fill in the blanks. Now with my stories, which you can get on Amazon, I tend to start with the characters and then build an interesting and unique story around them. And let's do the same here with our scary internet tale that hopefully will go viral and allow me to afford groceries. Characters. What scares people? Children are scary to some people, so let's make the main characters a boy and a girl. That way, pretty much everybody can identify with it. They have to be old enough to where it's understandable what's going on around them. They're not just in the dark or oblivious the whole time, but they also have to be young enough to where it's tragic what they're encountering and enduring. Going off of my Pokemon background, let's say that the boy who's the younger of the two, we'll put him at about 11 or 12, and the girl we can put at a solid 14, 15. She's basically a teenager. At these ages, they should have things that they like and dislike, but more specifically and more importantly, fears. I want to know what scares them. Kids these ages probably aren't going to be worried about the meaning of life. They'll be worried about things, or scared, I should say, of things that they can see, things that they have seen. So, let's make it something unique. Since we don't really know the time period yet, let's just say that the boy is afraid of dogs. This is a fear that I had when I was younger. Dogs are loud, they're scary, they bark, they bite, and they scratch. Dogs seem like a pretty rational fear for a little kid. And horses for the girl, to kind of play on stereotypes a little bit. Now, what are the most extreme examples of dogs and horses? Why, werewolves and unicorns, of course. That means that our main characters are specifically going to be stalked and frightened by a werewolf and a unicorn. Now, I'll be honest, I love werewolves as much as the next guy, but a scary unicorn, that sounds so much more on brand for internet-specific terror. So, for the purposes of this introductory story, because remember, this is the first time we're going to be interacting with these characters, let's forego the werewolves for now, and instead focus on the unicorns. So maybe what we'll do for this first story is we'll have the boy and the girl characters, but we'll focus on the girl. She'll be the main character of our first story. And this will follow stories like FNAF, or, well, mostly FNAF. But hey, having a female protagonist isn't a bad thing, any more than having a male one is. So we've got our main characters, and we've got what's going to be chasing them, but we need some supporting cast. Somebody that we can put on the cover of everything, but isn't technically the main character. I'm talking your Kane from The Amazing Digital Circus, or your Slender Man from every creepypasta of the mid-2000s. Let's make this side character something spooky but cool. Someone who can come in and assist our main characters, but makes them feel uneasy at the same time. You guys ever heard of Plague Doctors? That's some good supporting characters, but I feel like we need something more. Something to do with the two kids that makes them instantly relatable to our internet audience. Well, most people on the internet like spooky things, so let's say that the boy loves clowns, specifically creepy ones, and he wants to be one someday. And the girl, well, she collects creepy dolls. Some are made out of porcelain, others are made out of fabric. That's right, both of our characters, our main characters, might as well be straight out of a Tim Burton movie. So we've got our characters, we've got our supporting cast, now we need to put them somewhere. Where's somewhere nostalgic that people on the internet might connect to instantly? For me, of all these choices, one stands out as the scariest and most nostalgic above all the rest. A store. Tell me, as a kid, did you ever get lost and separated from your parents in the store? Kind of terrifying. I am getting a no. I'm getting a no from my crew. Really? No on the store? Okay. I guess I'm the only one that was scared of convenience stores. Well, then what about an airport? Airports are stressful. You're always running back and forth. It never seems to end. And, you know, everyone's trying to get somewhere. Come on. Really? No on the airport? Okay, fine, whatever. Okay. We're down to the last two options. We've got a school and a library. The answer is obvious. It needs to be a school. What do you mean, no? People are scared of libraries? No. Actually, people are scared of libraries. Okay, I guess we're gonna pick a library. I didn't realize people were scared of those. Come on, what's scary about a bunch of books? Unicorns. Unicorns are fairy tale creatures. Fairy tales are shared in books. Holy crap, I didn't even realize this. Okay, there's another thing I failed to cover. Meta. Well, like, breaking the fourth wall. The scariest content out there goes from whatever media form it takes to you, the viewer. By the way, this is one of my books that I've already written. It's on Amazon. You can't get this cover anymore. This was a limited edition. I'll put the new one up on screen here. But if you want to support me in my efforts to scare the internet, buy a copy of my book, please. The scariest content on the internet reaches you, the viewer. It makes you feel like you're one of the characters, as if the horror monsters are right there going to get you. It could be like camera placement. It could be the mention of knowing that the monsters are in a scary video. We can use that. What if the book that you're reading exists in universe? What if the characters pick up and read the book that they're in at some point? We could go full meta. We could do that like existential horror with the characters questioning if they're even alive, even though they're kids. And because they know the true nature of their existence, their fears, fictional or otherwise, can manifest through the other books. This is making my head hurt a little bit. So we've got our idea. Everything just lines up. It fits within the logic of this universe. The only thing we're really missing is a logo. Got to be something that you can always tie to this franchise. For FNAF, it's Freddy Fazbear's face. For Murder Drones, it's the Absolute Solver logo. And for Slenderman, it's, I guess, Slenderman. This is the part of the video where I want your help. I'm going to create a bunch of different logos or symbols, something that can be on the cover of every single book in this scary library, and of course, the book that you'll be reading from. I need you guys to go down into the comments and tell me which symbol you think is the coolest one. I'll also have a poll up on my channel so you guys can decide that way too. Everything will be taken into consideration here. But without further ado, let's get designing, shall we? Okay, so normally this is the part of the video where I tell you to go down to the comments and answer my questions from the beginning of the video and vote for whichever symbol you think is the coolest. But I gotta be honest. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys for a split second. I know for a fact that this video at most is going to get 100 views. If that. Long form videos have never been very popular on my channel. It's always been about shorts. But I would ask you, if you can, share this video with at least one other person. I want to get as many pieces of feedback as I can possibly get, because I am going to tell this story. I don't know what form that story is going to take. It might be a book. It might be a series of videos here on this channel, whatever it might be. I want you guys to be involved. And I want to create something that can be added to the extensive library, pun intended, that is internet creepypasta horror-related stuff. I want something cool, something that people can do fan art of, something that people that can something that people can come back to my channel for over and over and over again. I want something memorable. I want something like Murder Drones. Although I admit, Murder Drones was a massive effort. It took an army of people to get it done, and I don't know if I have the capacity to do all of that by myself. So I ask you guys again, please, if you can, tell me which symbol behind me you think is the coolest, and comment down below what your decision is. And share this video with as many people as you can. I want as much feedback as possible, and I want to bring this story to life. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye for now.